Charlie. Appreciate that. Our next speaker is Kathy Occhipinti. Catherine is a radiologist whose love of the Italian language has led her to dedicate herself to learning proper Italian and to help other Italian Americans learn Italian as well. She has an Italian language book series, Conversational Italian for Travelers, and 2 blogs that will definitely improve your Italian. Catherine?
So first, I would just like to thank everyone for coming here this afternoon. This is always an enjoyable part of my year. I look forward to it, and especially for those who organized it. So as CJ said, I'm actually a physician. I'm a medical doctor. But when I was living in Peoria, what I experienced from the Italian American Society there was people who wanted to learn Italian, to travel to Italy, and didn't really know where to start. So I went on the internet and I looked for material, and then I just got tired of trying to find material for adults. So that's what I do. I teach beginning Italian to adults, and I've been doing it for over 10 years now. So if you are someone who's trying to learn Italian, I have to tell you, you are not alone. In fact, Italian is the 4th most studied language in the world. And this is very interesting to me because I had to actually look it up on the internet again. I have trouble remembering the countries that speak Italian besides Italy. It's the official language, obviously, of Italy, but also San Marino, the Vatican City, Switzerland, Western Istria region of Slovakia and Croatia. Albania, Monaco, and Malta had Italian as an official language at one point. So then that brings up the question, why are so many people interested in learning Italian? Now I have to say in the United States, this is a phenomenon that I encountered from speaking to people as I got involved with this, because at some point the Italian Americans here were encouraged not to speak Italian. And I only learned this actually after coming to Chicago and attending events at Casa Italia. And I would encourage anyone, if they have children, to have them take a course, one of Carlo's courses, and learn about what happens to the Italian Americans here during a certain period of time, which luckily we are not in anymore. So again, why learn Italian? Okay, we want to learn because we're Italian American. Learning the Italian language opens a door to a wonderful country and a truly phenomenal culture. So we have the beauty of Italy. I always say, oh, it's really easy for me to take pictures for my books. You can't take a bad picture in Italy, right? Everyone wants to go for the beauty. So the countryside is amazing. But the intellect of the Italians. So I guess our friend Gay Tallahassee forgot about Dante. And the Sicilian poets who were writing even before Dante. So again, I mean, I wish I could go back to college and learn all this history that they do not teach in high school about our culture. And then, of course, we have visual art. We have music, which was my first contact with Italian because musical notation is, of course, in Italian. And dance originated in Florence, Italy. It was then developed in France and Russia. So when I talk about dance, I mean, of course, ballet. The intellect of Italians. The Romans were truly phenomenal engineers. This is something most people don't know. They think they were great warriors. But it was really their engineering, their ability to build bridges over a river so they could cross it, that won them the empire. The Italians are scientists. I have a Pinterest page, Stella Lucente Italian. Every time I find a blog about important Italians through the ages, I always save it on my Pinterest page. There are just too many to mention. So I would say the Italian language is really the key to understanding the intellect of these people, these phenomenal people, if this is possible. So we all know we grow up in Italian families. Sometimes it can be a little difficult. Especially since when you try to learn another language, you can't go word for word, right? If you could, Google Translate would be perfect. And as anyone knows, who's tried to use Google Translate, they're wrong, I don't know, 75% of the time, maybe. It's the intellect, the way people think, that we're really trying to get to, and that will lead us into their culture and who they are. Italian sayings are kind of an example of this. Buono come pane, he's as good as bread. This saying is a wonderful saying because it goes back to how important bread was to these people. This was the most important thing they needed to do, is feed their children, feed their families. So if you were as good as bread, we would say good as gold, right? So it's similar, and yet it's a little bit different. We tap into that way of thinking. Another one I came into, sogni di oro, dreams of gold, right? You know, we say, you know, sleep tight, good night, sleep tight. They say have dreams of gold. You know, these are all beautiful insights into the culture and the thinking of the people. Okay, so of course the question is, and then this talk I sort of entitled, you know, my tips on learning Italian, and I've read countless blogs, countless tips. And so I'm trying to do something a little different, and I'll tell you what helped me to learn Italian, because when I was growing up, I'm from that generation where we were taught not, my parents somehow had it ingrained in them, not to speak to your children in Italian. So Italian was like a secret language. You know, my mother would speak it with my grandmother, but she wouldn't speak it with me. And they spoke Sicilian. They wanted me to learn the real Italian. They wanted me to be American. So my name is Occhipinti. Not sure anyone would know that I'm not Italian or some sort of foreigner from that name. But, you know, they were under the illusion if I spoke English, I would be a real American. So I did take Italian in high school, but as everyone knows, unless you make a concerted effort really to learn, you know, I got straight A's, but I really didn't learn. So really, how do we learn Italian? Well, I think the best way to learn Italian is to start by listening. And what do I mean by listening? When we're 2 to 3 years old, we just listen to a language. We get to know the cadence of it. We hear what people are saying. We hear common expressions over and over again, and then we start to speak. So I would say to anyone trying to learn Italian, listen to Italian. Don't worry if you don't know every word. What I find most, and of course I have to mention this in every talk, I'm sorry. What I find most helpful are movies, because movies have small snippets of language. They're a writer's version, true, of what people do say, but it's easy to kind of latch on to certain phrases. So I have to tell you, I have learned the most Italian from the Detective Montalbano series, which of course was written in my, you know, my home area of Sicily by a very, very famous author, Andrea Camilleri. He's been translated, speaking of Italian American authors, you know, he is an author that has been translated into at least 40 different languages, the last I read. He's known worldwide. And they're entertaining movies, they're mysteries, but they have phenomenal characters, they're very entertaining. And what I would do is I would, you know, listen to, I'd watch an episode for enjoyment. Just watch it through, so I know what's happening. Read the subtitles, of course. But then listen to parts of it over and over again. Listen, watch another episode. Eventually, certain phrases will come out over and over again. So if you've heard him say, buongiorno, a million times, because there's a lot of coming and going in the Montalbano, right? They're in a police station, if anyone doesn't know. He's the head of the police station. He's always meeting people. He's always interviewing people. So, you know, if you see here, accompagnarla, you know, show them out. A million times over, it's just, you just remember it. So focus on the phrases you do know. Don't worry about those you don't. Some of them will be difficult because they will be idiomatic expressions, just expressions that, you know, they use there that don't really make sense to us until we learn them. But like I can remember from watching movies where I learned certain words. So there was an episode in The Godfather where the men are sitting at the kitchen table, which is where we do all our business, right? I write at the kitchen table. And they're using the word pagare. over and over again. So it's the thing, in conversation, a certain word will be repeated, and you can hear it again. And I'm like, wow, is that really the same as English? Pay? Pagare? I guess it is. How about trappola? Can anyone figure out what trappola means? Anyone? No? Trappola? Trap. It means trap. I was like, really? That means trap? That's really weird, because we have the same word in English. And I watched that in a movie, it was Ferdinand and Carolina, and they were trying to trap the king into having an affair with some woman. You know, obviously he would pay her, so it was for money. But watch these movies, and you will never forget these words. And luckily, a lot of English is borrowed from Latin and therefore Italian. And then again, you know, some phrases are just idiomatic expressions. That's just the way they are. You can't explain why. We have these in English, okay? And that makes it difficult. If you ask someone whose first language isn't English, they'll tell you that makes it difficult here. We use so many. But like if you hear fammi sapere multiple times, fammi sapere, let me know, you know, and you'll see the translation. Then you know what that means. How about mi raccomando? Anyone know what mi raccomando means? I recommend, but I was told by someone else it means even stronger. It means do as I say. You do this. It's kind of like I'm recommending it, but I want you really to do this for whatever reason. Mi raccomando. See? Yeah, you gotta go. Mi raccomando. So the other thing you learn from music, Carl kind of brought it up inadvertently, is you learn the hand gestures. And I have several funny YouTube videos with hand gestures. So movies are great. Montalbano series is great. Music, I've heard people say they learn with music. For me, I think that's more difficult because you can take poetic license with language, with music. But the nice thing about music is you have a melody, and Italian's a very musical language. You know, so if you like opera, whatever you like, but listen somehow. And what I do now, and you know, my family can attest to this, is they know when I'm cooking dinner because I put RAI on the TV and I listen to the Italian news. That's how I get my American news. Through Italian news. And I have to blare it because the TV is in the other room from where I'm cooking. So everyone hears the Italian news and just Italian TV programs. And it's just on in the background. So there's active learning and there's passive learning. And all of these things are good. If you just surround yourself with Italian, or just 20 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, whatever time you have. That listening is very, very important. And so I wanted to bring up, as far as listening too, oops, Anna, I need your password, please.
Anna.
Okay. My website, which is called learntravelitalian.com. Mi raccomando, per favore. Il computer. Yeah.
Learn Travel Italian.
LearnTravelItalian.com or Learn Travel Italian, right? And I think I have it here. Okay, so here is my website. And so the nice thing about this is it's good for listening. If you go up here, you have my Facebook page. I have a group. If anyone wants to join, where I post interesting things, I have an Instagram, I have a Twitter. This is my Pinterest, where I post interesting things about, as I said, blogs that I enjoy, photos of different places in Italy if you just want to look through. And I have a YouTube channel, but what I want to do is go down here first, if I can. I have to do this way. And show you my dialogue. So these were recorded with native Italian speakers. You can do this on your phone too. So these tell the story of Caterina. She's an American girl who goes to Italy. And so whatever she does, we need to do. And that's what my books are about. So you can press on those dialogues and hear them. So another thing that I say that we should do in Italian is repeat back when we actually do start to speak. So when I was in Italy, it was 1 in the afternoon, someone said buonasera to me. I didn't worry about it. I just said buonasera back. use the verbs they use. They use verbs differently. And I have also 2 blogs, which I put up here, which you can find through my website also. Okay. So one has simple Italian, and it's phrases we use every day. And one has more complicated Italian where I talk about the subjunctive mode. So I just want to say that learn how to think in Italian, read a little Italian, above all listen to Italian, and if you can, join an Italian group. Practice speaking. It takes practice and you have to do it. And we have an I Cicceroni group started by Modi DeMarco. We still meet Wednesdays and everyone is welcome. Is that good?
Good.
Okay.
Thank you.